Howdy, folks. I'm Frosty Moorfrog, freely frolicking past frozen forest flowers.
I'm Amber.
And here are more frozen forest flowers for us to frolic past, present, and future. Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Mom Not to Babysit Anymore When My Husband Changed His Mind? My husband is a lawyer and I'm an engineer. We both have intense careers, but he wanted a second child. I was happy with our daughter, but he really wanted another child, so now we have two daughters, ages 3 and 1. And I came back from maternity leave and my mom took over full-time caring for them. We both work full-time, so she takes them when we work. My mom is a nurse, but quit to look after our kids. I insisted that we should pay her the going rate of daycares in the area, which is around $1,500 per child. So we paid her $3,000 for her to care for our children, to cook for them, etc. She will also pick them up sometimes, as we may need to be in the office early. My husband complained a lot about how expensive it was to pay her. He makes $140,000 and I make $110,000, so we can afford to pay her. But he thinks that we are overpaying her and complained about it to her face. My mom is not very confrontational, but she got very upset. I argued with him on this for months until I decided that it was better for her to go back to work and for us to use daycare. Well, finding a daycare was hard, and now we pay $1,800 a child for daycare, and daycare obviously will not pick up your children, nor will they cook for them. We have less time now and a higher cost for our children, and they are sick a lot during the winter season. So far this year, we have been sick the entire household 3 times. I was on a business trip and my husband was late picking up our children, which resulted in a $75 late charge, which my mom would not have charged extra for. My husband is now demanding that my mom leave her job and go back to babysitting our children, but I won't let her because he did no research into the real cost of childcare and kept complaining about how expensive it was even when I showed him. My mom is part-time. My mom, even part-time, makes $4,300 a month as a nurse, and I told my husband that if he wants her to do the same kind of childcare, then we need to pay her that amount. Remember, we already pay $3,600 for childcare. He wants her to go back to the $3,000 charge and is angry and claims my mom is asking too much for such a simple job and that grandma taking care of her grandchildren is a privilege. I told her not to quit and him that she isn't babysitting, which reduces his number of free hours and makes our lives harder, so he is angry at me for demanding that we pay her what I feel that she's owed. My mom probably would do it for free if we wanted to, but I definitely don't think that's fair. She needs to save for retirement, and she has bills as well. Am I the jerk here? And folks, I think I'm gonna read a couple of comments here. And OP is replying to this very, very long comment. I'm not going to read it because I think that OP's comment says plenty here. My mom would do it for a lot cheaper because in my culture, she would be looked after in old age. That's why grandparents help, because they will be taken care of and get to live with her kids. My husband has already made it clear that he wouldn't want to help her and expects everyone to save for their own retirement. My mom doesn't understand this, even though I explained it to her, so I won't let her do childcare for less than what she makes from a job when we won't be returning the favor in the future. She needs to save for her own retirement. And She's Me 88 says, Not the jerk, where's your husband's mom in all this? And OP replies, she's in another state and not interested in helping. So I think that's the relevant comments from
hmm
OP here. So we can kind of see how things are playing out here. So what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Absolutely not the jerk, but honestly, OP, it might be time to reevaluate this relationship. What does this man actually do for you other than make your life miserable? He sounds like an entitled and insufferable person, the way he expects your mom to labor for free to take care of your children, or at least a significantly reduced cost, and is not willing to return the favor in the future.
Well, I mean, it sounds like he is helping out because he's complaining about having less time,
Well, he's
right?
being forced to do something, but I
Yeah,
just mean in terms of like, they both have to do more now because they can't
yeah.
literally leave the kids there the whole time. But would OP's life be easier if she didn't have this angry man in her ear all the time? Like, they would, yeah, she'd have to do drop-offs and pickups the day she had the kids, but if they have a 50-50 split, I mean, OP could have her mom do childcare for her on her days, and he could be stuck paying for the expensive kid daycare on his days, and then OP can help out her mom in old age like she wants to.
So, I mean, I think that you should always evaluate a relationship that isn't happy, and if something is causing a lot of stress, and especially a cultural difference like this. So, I don't think that's unhealthy to, reflect and say, see if everyone's needs are being met by a relationship. With that said, I don't know if there's a whole lot of judgment that I can make on that front personally, but I mean, certainly, like, I do think that OP should evaluate the relationship and evaluate their husband's attitude and whatnot. And maybe marriage counseling is a good first step for them to go into so that they can start learning to communicate a little bit better, because it sounds like he doesn't really listen to her.
Well, it does, but he also sounds like a bully. Like, it sounds like he kind of manipulated OP into having another kid when she was clear she didn't really want one, and she caved to him. And he is now, like, demanding that OP's mom quit her job and, like, take care of the kids. It does sound like OP's trying to hold her own against him, but he just sounds like an abusive, bullying person.
I mean, he's a lawyer, right? I'm just kidding. Sorry, lawyers out there. And lawyers are always the butt end of jokes. It's not a fair world. But then again, the lawyers are in charge, so it's not like I'm punching down. The thing is that OP definitely needs to stick to her guns, especially with the cultural differences in mind, where the mother might be expecting to have to be taken care of, and as long as they aren't letting her do this for free, then there's never going to be the expectation that she can rely on them to do this. And so I think that OP would be doing her a tremendous disfavor to actually not allow her to, save for retirement and save for other costs.
Well, this man just seems to be so greedy and self-centered. Like, I understand, not everyone has the means to care for parents in old age, and that's not necessarily a contract you're making. But if you expect someone to do childcare for free, and then they can't afford their retirement, you've got to kind of step up then, because it's your own fault they can't afford it.
So it sounds like they would be paying her $50,000 a year, which, I mean, out of a household budget of $250,000 a year, that's 20%, before taxes, but they would probably get a pretty hefty discount on their, rebate on their taxes because this would be considered like a business expense or something like that, right?
Well, and that's only the amount. Like, it originally was like $36,000 a year at the original rate, but because OP's husband wants to, basically bite the hand that was feeding him, and be a jerk about it, like, he wasn't listening to OP. She made it clear childcare is expensive. We're not going to get anything cheaper. But he's demanding cheaper because he is a manipulative garbage person.
I mean, I understand them being a little uncomfortable with spending $36,000 a year for the initial thing. But again, like, it's clear that he didn't really have a good idea about how much it actually costs for childcare in their area. And he didn't listen to OP, and now they're suffering the consequences. I think that there's a lesson to be learned in there somewhere. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Give My Late Aunt's Heirloom Necklace to Her Daughter? My aunt passed away a few years ago, and before she died, she gave me, a 27-year-old female, a beautiful antique necklace that had been in our family for generations. She told me that she wanted me to have it because we were extremely close. She knew that I would treasure it, and I have ever since. Now her daughter, Lily, a 29-year-old female, is getting married, and last weekend she asked me if she could borrow the necklace as her something old. I said yes at first because I thought that it was just for the wedding day, but then she casually mentioned that she actually wanted to keep it permanently. I was confused and I asked what she meant, and she said that it should have been hers all along, since it belonged to her mother. She said that it was unfair that I had it instead of her, and that she deserved it more because she is her daughter. I told her that I thought you just wanted to borrow it. Aunt gave me this because she wanted me to have it. I'm not going to give it to you. She got upset and said that my aunt was probably just being polite when she gave it to me, and that if she were still here, she would obviously want her own daughter to have it instead. She told me that I was being selfish and should do the right thing. Now my mom and a few relatives are saying that I should just give it to her because it was her mom's and it would mean a lot to her on the wedding day. But to me, it just isn't a family heirloom. It's a gift meant for me. I understand why she wants it, but my aunt had her reasons and gave it to me. I don't think that I should be guilted into handing it over just because Lily suddenly decides that she wants it now. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk and the audacity. Like, the aunt had the opportunity during her lifetime to decide who to give the necklace to.
Yeah.
She made it very clear she wanted to give it to OP, not her daughter. Like, did this daughter just pop out of the woodwork? Oh, surprise, I'm your secret daughter. Doesn't sound like it. So clearly the aunt knew she had a daughter that she could give the necklace to, and she chose not to. And these other relatives, they just need to get off OP's case. It's not their business. This was given to OP specifically by the aunt as one of her last requests, wishes, and there was a reason why the aunt did not give it to her daughter.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a family heirloom, right? And a family heirloom is something that stays in the family. And OP is family, right? Now, I think that the cousin is being absurd here because OP has this now and it's theirs, right? There's not any debate about this. The mother knew what she was doing. She gave it away to OP. They were close and she wanted OP to have it.
Yeah.
That's that. That's really that. It's as simple as that. Anyone who is saying that OP should give it to her permanently is certainly wrong. And at this point in time, loaning it to her for the day is probably out of the question.
Right, because she would just forget to give it back or whatever. Like, you would never see that necklace again.
Or lose it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering, too, if the aunt maybe was concerned that the cousin would, like, pawn it or something like that. Maybe OP has more, like, ties to it or something like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Tefster says, not the jerk, your aunt chose to give it to you for a reason. No way that I would loan it out. You'll never get it back. Is it feasible to get a cheap replica made up and let her have that for the wedding so that she has the aesthetic of it? It doesn't settle the ownership argument, but it might diffuse it. And it could be the something new. And OP replies, but I wouldn't feel comfortable lying to her like that. This is not just a piece of jewelry. No, I'm not doing that. So, I mean, I think that if OP does want to loan it to her, that she should absolutely loan her a replica and not the real thing, because you'll never get it back. And Not the Default Name says, not the jerk, your aunt chose to give it to you. She could have chose to save it for her daughter if she had wanted to do that instead. As lovely as it would be to lend it for the ceremony, I would be really cautious since she's indicated that she wants to keep it, and other family members are weighing in. Loaning it for her wedding will make it even more sentimental for your cousin as her wedding jewelry, and she may try to frame it to your relatives as you having gifted it to her. You also don't want to have to go to court over an heirloom if she doesn't give it back, especially since you likely don't have a document around the gift. And even if you do win, you may only be awarded a judgment telling her to pay you for the value, which means you could possibly only try to enforce her paying you monetarily, not actually giving the sentimental items back, all while tearing apart your family because of the court case. Remember, keeping an item that your aunt gifted you isn't making problems. It's her asking you to give up your possession and not taking no for an answer that is causing family drama, or cussing family drama as it's written. And OP replies, that's my worry as well. It's not about being petty, it's about protecting what my aunt gave me. I know Lily is upset, but her trying to take it permanently is crossing a line. And you're right, if I had to hand it over now, it could be framed as me giving it to her. That would be a mess if I ever wanted it back. I'm just trying to avoid making things more complicated. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for cutting off my entire family due to money being taken out of my son's piggy bank? I have had a rocky relationship with my family, and I have one older sister, 2 younger siblings, ages 24 and 25, and I am 29. Long story short, my brother, a 24-year-old, has a habit of stealing, or in my mom's words, taking things that don't belong to him, from my younger sister and my mom and I. For about 8 months or so, I was living with my fiance and my son at his apartment. We recently moved into our new home. Before we moved, I had left my son's piggy bank at my mom's house for the 8 months that I was gone and the entire life of my son, where I stayed before, on top of the fridge. For years, my mom and I would put money into it. Money from birthday cards, Christmas cards, change that we had, or I would put some of the child support my son's father gave me, and from tips when I bartended. Well, I took the piggy bank when we moved in and I didn't check. I decided to check it today and I only saw $130 and a few change. There should have been around $700 to $1,000 or even more in there. I became extremely upset, obviously, and I asked my group chat who took it. I also called my mom, who said it was obviously my brother, but maybe he was going to put it back someday. This grown man has refused to work even though I got him a job and he left it and didn't want to return. He's the same grown man that says parents shouldn't have kids if they can't take care of the child financially whenever my mom has asked him to get a job and help out at home. Even $200 a month would do, but he refuses and says that he's not the working type. After years of ongoing feuds with my brother, I left all the family group chats, I blocked and I deleted him. I deleted my mom and I blocked her as well because honestly, I'm done with her condoning his nonsense. He's stolen from my younger sister as well. She'll get mad, but everyone always forgives him. Even me, but stealing from a 4-year-old's piggy bank is just low. I told my son's father about it, and he is fuming because even some of his mom's money went into that piggy bank, and we wanted to save it for maybe one day that our son might learn how to use the money. Now all that is left is $130. Am I the jerk for cutting my entire family off? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think you're in the wrong for cutting these people off. If they're enabling him, like certainly cut him off. He should not be anywhere near you or your valuables. And the mom seems perfectly comfortable with enabling his behavior. It is theft is what it is. And it's time that she actually started treating it like the crime that it is.
I think that OP is right to be angry in this situation. And I'm not going to victim blame OP, but I do think that that money probably should have gone into a bank account and not been at your mom's house when you have a known thief around. I'm not blaming OP. They're not their brother's fault. It's the brother's fault that he stole from them. But it would have been wise, I think, to put the money into the bank. So if you ever know somebody with sticky fingers, then make sure to keep money away from those types of people. Keep possessions away that you know they'll take. It's bad because you have to do it like that because you want to be able to trust people in your life. You would trust that a grown adult wouldn't steal from a 4-year-old. But unfortunately, I think it just goes to show that he's so untrustworthy that you can't. The remedy that OP could try to take is they could try to make a police report. I don't know if they'll be able to do that.
I think the hard part is like it's not even clear that OP knows how much money was in the bank account, and so like there's no record of like everything that went into it. So unless OP has like receipts of everything, it's going to be really hard to.
And that's my biggest issue here is that money was all untraceable, and so it's going to be really difficult for OP to rebuild that. And I would say that if OP really wants to, what they should do is they should just slowly try to save up again and rebuild from what they had before. And it's also terrible, but I think you can also put a deposit on your visits with your family, and that if your family ever wants to see you or visit you,
that's what I was gonna say.
Then tell them that they need to start, bringing out the money.
Right, until the money is returned or returned in installments. Then like I'm not having anything to do with you.
Yeah. So I think that you can get the money back one way or another, and I think you might just have to play hardball. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why couldn't the snow be trusted to keep its word?
I can tell you exactly why the snow can't be trusted to keep its word, because have you ever seen snow? Have you ever seen snow?
I have seen it, yes.
Oh, I have seen it. It's cold. It's harsh. It's a lot like sand, but it's not quite as bad as sand. And it just is untrustworthy. I mean, I wouldn't trust it.
It was too flaky.
It was too flaky. That too.
And today is tug of war day.
So, folks, make sure to go find a rope and pull on it. Even if it's in a hardware store. Free game. Just tell them that's tug of war day.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. This is more of Brad's bad advice.
And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a haiku for Haiku Wednesday.
I came prepared today.
She's prepared.
Yeah, I was like, once he reads the title of the first story, we're going. Don't bite feeding hands. Don't take helpers for granted. Do show gratitude.
Ooh. Amber's well prepared and a good moral. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Well, I took the biggie bank and the biggie bank. That's right, folks. We're gonna go put money in the biggie bank.